Praise the Lord and welcome to Sunday Morning Christian Education. My name is Teraie Deloach. I attend Greater Bethlehem Temple Apostolic Church located on 4781 Hamilton Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, where Bishop James Chapman is the pastor and where there is a God in Bethlehem and Jesus is his name. Today's lesson is titled A Story of Forgiveness. The lesson text comes from the book of Luke, chapter 15, verses 11 through 24. The golden text reads, "This my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." And that's from Luke chapter 15, verse 24. I heard a preacher say, the best revenge is forgiveness. Every time you forgive someone, you are following in Jesus' footsteps. Jesus told a story about a young man who made a big decision that affected his life in a big way. This story is what the Bible refers to as the prodigal son. Prodigal means one who spends or gives lavishly and foolishly. So the story goes, there was a father who had two sons. The younger son asked his father for his inheritance early so he could move away and do big things with his life. Do his own thing. Normally, the inheritance would have been divided and given out after the father had died. Customarily, the firstborn son in a family would receive the birthright, which included a double portion of his father's wealth and possessions as an inheritance. But the younger son told his father that he wanted to receive his portion early. This request showed great disrespect for his father because it was if he was already dead. How rude. The father was going to look shameful in the eyes of all his neighbors, but the young man didn't care. Even though his son's request was a huge insult to him, the father granted the request. So after receiving the money, the young man left his father's house and traveled to live far away. I could hear the older folks now say he was getting too big for his britches. Or they would say he's smelling himself. But that basically meant he thought he was grown. So don't be so quick to move out of your parents' home because it's not as easy as you think. I know you have rules you have to follow, but you may feel some type of way. But communication is the best policy. So try to communicate with your parents as best as you can. Try to talk things out in a civilized way. Because it's a cruel and evil world out there, and you don't want to get caught up in it. So, the young man lived ravishly. If I can put it in today's terms, he was probably out there just turned up or getting lit, just partying. Anyway, and I imagine if in today's world, he probably was wearing all the best clothes like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, or Versace. He probably had all kind of bling bling jewelry on, fast cars with big old rims like Bishop always say, them 22s. He was just enjoying the sinful life, just wasting money, and all those fake friends around him. As long as he was showing the money, he made a bunch of bad decisions and wasted all his money. Then there was a famine in the land. He didn't have any food to eat. Reality hit. No food, no money, no fake friends, no place to stay, and nothing to even show for that inheritance. He had to get a very embarrassing job feeding pigs. He got so hungry he wanted to eat the pig's food. He really got to a low point, rock bottom, as people would say. So he realized his decision to leave home was a big mistake and a huge disappointment. He realized the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I imagine him thinking about home, how nice it was. He probably had, can always go get something to eat whenever he wanted. He had a nice warm bed, nice hot shower, clean clothes. But he wanted to do his own thing. He knew he had it better at home. He knew the servants was living better than he was at this point. He decided to go back home and ask his dad for forgiveness. He didn't know what to expect once he got there. He didn't know how angry his dad would be. But it was worth taking a chance because the way he was living wasn't good. He was willing to accept whatever happened so he wouldn't have to continue living the way he was living. He was going to suggest to his father that he work as a servant. So he headed home, and his father saw him and recognized him from a far distance. He was very excited. Instead of being angry, the father raced out to meet him with hugs and kisses. He always was looking out for his return the whole time. He didn't know what to expect while he was gone. Like, he didn't know how he was living, if he was dead or alive, or if he would even be coming back to see him. But at that moment, he was happy to see him. He was so excited for his return that he threw a huge celebration. His father didn't care about his apologies or what he was trying to explain to him. He just told his servants to get the best robe, get the big ring, get the best sandals. And they had a big feast. The whole point in Jesus telling this story, it should remind us of his unconditional love. The younger son is like a backslider, or sometimes like some of us can be. Oftentimes we want to do what we want to do, regardless of what we know about God's love and protection. Our flesh rises and we may enter the sinful world because we may lose faith or get weary or from frustration. But that draws us away from God. And the father in this story is like God, because God's love is so powerful. He has compassion for us, and he is ready to forgive us when we stray away. He is ready to, he is waiting patiently for us to return with open arms. So, God's way is the only way. Don't learn this the hard way. Thank God for his love that never stops. We must trust him and obey him. I hope I have put something on your mind. Until next time, God bless.